Welcome to Buckets Live, coming to you from the Tommy John Home Studios. I'm Matt Moore, senior NBA writer for the Action Network, joined by Brandon Kravitz. You can catch him at Brandon Kravitz, at Joe Dellera, as Joe Dellera is at. They're going to join me tonight to talk a little bit about what we found in the association tonight as the Boston Celtics, without Jason Tatum, give an inspiring performance led by Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Luke Cornett as they topple the Knickerbockers, Joe's beloved Knickerbockers, and extend to a game 6. We'll talk about that series. We'll talk about this game currently ongoing as we record this live on Buckets between the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Looks like we're closing in on halftime, and the Wolves are up 11, so looking to close out the series tonight at home versus Golden State and avoid the possibility of a a Steph Curry return game in game 6. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Playoff Jimmy has 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists with halftime coming up. I told you guys, if he's not playing Milwaukee, not the same deal. Now he'll go off for like 25 in the second half. But anyway, we'll talk about that. Reminder, if you're watching, go download the Action Network app. Great way to track your picks. If you like this show, you'll love our podcast too. If you're just watching this at youtube.com/the Action Network, we have buckets on this podcast feed on YouTube, but we also have, like, just if you're going around, if you listen to podcasts, go subscribe to our podcast Buckets and our WNBA Buckets podcast as well, because it's starting up with Jim Turvey. Lots of great WNBA content. I'm going to start updating the old model, putting that together this week to get ready for Wuckets season. So let's start here. Brandon Kravitz, how was your betting night? What is the bet you were most proud of from tonight?
Pretty good. This has been a great night. I was on 2 wagers in the first game. I was on the Celtics -4.5 and Jaylen Brown over 25.5 points scored. I hopped on that immediately once the Jason Tatum news hit. Just tracking the trends, having covered the Celtics Magic series the way that I did up close and personal. Jason Tatum missed the game in that one, and that was all we could talk about, was how Jaylen Brown goes off every time Jason Tatum is not in the lineup. So I think tracking that one early and getting in on that pretty much immediately after the news broke that it was indeed a rupture in the Achilles. I think that is the one I'm the most proud of. I did take the Knicks +105 to win the series after they went up 2-0. I thought it was ridiculous that you had a team that was up 2-0 in a series that was an underdog. Complete disrespect. I didn't even necessarily think that it would hit, and it hasn't yet, but I thought it was just simply a good bet to make. And so I was kind of playing both sides in terms of the spread, because if the Celtics were going to win, they were going to cover. And if they didn't, oh, well, I'll cash my series bet. And we're on to game 6.
Good stuff. Good stuff, Brandon. I missed on OG Anunoby over points. I had the Knicks +4 and on the Knicks money line. I said how hesitant I was about it, but had the number at 3. Celtics put in the good old-fashioned win one for JJ and got it done tonight. We'll see if they can extend the series. Joe Dellera, how's your betting night?
As a Knicks fan, it was not the best first game for us there. I mean, the team just came out completely flat. It was brutal. And, I'm just a little bit disappointed. But I do have a Randall points play and a Kuminga points play that seem to be – they're like tracking right now at halftime. Or about to be halftime, so I'm not too upset about the second game.
I guess Joe, I would ask, like, well, I guess the problem with this one was they went down by 20 too late.
Yeah,
that was the real problem in this one. Got to go down by 20 earlier because they're going to have to do it every game. So
it's also tough. I mean, there were other things besides the refs, but the fact that Brunson somehow picks up 5 fouls in a quarter is insane. Like, I don't know how that even happened. Like, I cannot wrap my head around that one. So there was that. And then I'm pretty sure that Cat got like kneed in the balls and they called a foul on him. So not great, not great for us. So it is.
think Joe went silent.
Yeah, we lost Joe for a
I
minute.
saw Jaylen Brown was out there grabbing guys in the crotch. I mean, he
Yeah,
was
that was
doing
nasty.
everything he could to win this basketball game.
That was nasty. Joe, you with us? Nope.
This will have to work in the meantime, I guess. So I had to switch mics. You know, we got the whole studio, the arsenal of microphones that we have from Matt Mitchell over there. But yeah, I mean, it was tough. You know, the foul calls were not really going the Knicks' way, and like if you're going to be in the bonus, like Boston was in the bonus literally the entire third quarter. It was a disaster for New York, and then they just were flat. There were no plays for Bridges really in the entire second half. Mitchell Robinson, who's been awesome, sat like the first 9 minutes of the third quarter while this debacle was going on. I think there were some moves that could have been made, but just a tough effort from New York. They really just looked like a team that thought that they were going to win and that the Celtics were going to just roll over and die. And that team is too good. That team is too proud. And they also have that type of shot profile where it was tied 59 at halftime. And I was watching the game and I was like, oh boy, this is not what we need, because Boston just gets hot from three. Disaster. And that's what happened.
Yeah. Celtics plus 250 now to win the series. This is annoying because of how much handle the books are carrying on the Celtics. I keep finding myself in spots where there's not value on either side. So I've got this plus 290 for Celtics. It's plus 250. I make Knicks minus 290. It's minus 330. So I can't get to value really significantly on either side. A little bit of value on not really either side. I can't really find any way to bet this. I'm just going to have to ride out and see what happens. I would imagine we'll all be on Knicks in Game 6. That'll probably be. I mean, I know Joe will be.
I'm just waiting. I mean, the Celtics are getting steamed. This opened at 3 during the game. Brandon was saying like we're already down at 2. If this game closes with New York at like a pick'em, I'm probably going to be all over them.
Yeah.
It went down to 1.5, so I didn't even see that it had opened at 3. You mentioned prior to us going live here that happened in the middle of the game. I checked immediately after the game was over. It was already down to 2, and then it got bet down to 1.5, and now it's back up to 2, at least looking over at FanDuel right now. I don't know, guys. I think, and I've been all over the place in this series, so just take that for what it's worth, but we can only live in the moment. You're looking at Game 6. Essentially, the odds are telling you, and I think our common sense would tell us, Game 6 is a coin flip. Game 7 is not. Game 7 is going to be heavily tilted towards the Boston Celtics as favorites in that game. Does that not lead us in the direction at plus 250 that the Celtics are the best bet on the board to win this series?
I'll let Joe go first and defend his squad, and then I'll come in with the numbers.
I'm gonna say no, just based on the fact that Tatum, I think, as much as we like hate on Tatum, I think Tatum's obviously like a top 10 player in the NBA. You're without him, and I think a lot of what happened today was, like I said, New York, I think, was just a little flat. I think that the way that the numbers are and the way that the market is, I think that there's just been a continued overvaluation of the Boston Celtics based in part off of how much handle the books have on Boston throughout the course of the entire season. So to me, like, I would say no. I think that if you like Boston, you should, I would bet them to just win the East then. Like, if you like Boston, I think you just take it the next level, because that means that whatever they could do against New York worked. They were able to develop something that was effective. And, you know, if you're able to go play Indiana, who I think that New York's better than Indiana. I think that Boston, even as currently composed, is probably better than Indiana. And, you know, you're in a situation where if Jaylen Brown can really step up, then, you know, I think that Boston has a chance in the East if they aren't like behind the 8 ball, like if they're able to get through New York and you're in a fresh series with the Indiana Pacers.
Derek White, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, is live. It lives.
I don't think that this is about Jason Tatum disrespect, though, because I'm very much a Tatum guy. I think it's about Jaylen Brown respect, that if called upon, he can also be a top 10 player in the NBA. He doesn't have to be. He gets to play the Robin role. He does a really good job at that. But when he needs to be that alpha, he steps up. And this is what we liked about the Celtics all year long. This is what we loved about them last year. It's the reason they were favorites going into this year, is because they are so ridiculously deep. That is still the case. And they have guys that can come in. You're not going to replace all of what Jason Tatum brings you, but in terms of the three-point shooting, they got that off the bench. No problem. So I still think that there's still something scratching at the back of my brain that says the Celtics are winning this series.
I mean, I think the biggest thing, though, was like today, the ball just didn't stick. The Celtics offense was great. They were moving the ball around. Everybody was very unselfish. Jaylen Brown was, I think, a major factor in terms of that, like in terms of facilitating the basketball. But the shots were also going down, and the whistle, the whistle was insane. Like it was like an avalanche in the third quarter from Boston making threes, but then it was also just New York could not stop fouling. It was like every single possession there was a foul.
You did shoot 14 more free throws.
Yeah, well, it was mostly Mitchell Robinson who happened to actually make them today, but still. So I'm just saying, though, I think that when you're in it, it's not so much about the free throws is what I'm getting at. It's about who got the fouls. Like Brunson fouled out in the third quarter. Or whatever, or like early in the fourth quarter, but he had 5 in the third quarter. So it's just an untenable situation for New York where your best players were on the bench for the majority of the second half.
One thing I think that's really interesting here is a couple things. Okay, one, I make this minus 1.7, even with a 3. I gave the Celtics a 3-point downgrade for Tatum. I can't really upgrade New York a lot from this series when it's like I understand being like they're gonna make the conference finals. I understand that, but also they trail by 23 times in the series. Like it's just 4 times. It's very difficult to make like a substantial adjustment to the power rating. Now, like my numbers said that I should have bet Knicks at the beginning of the series, and I was like, shut up, numbers, be quiet, you, like a moron. I don't know who's going to win the series. What I will say is I can talk to the basketball side. That's the side that I'm strongest at. Okay. My concern was that Tatum is really important. I wrote this for the guide, and I took Knicks. Was that Tatum's really important for leveraging those things. But if Jaylen Brown's going to be able to do this, like here's the number. Like this is really the only one the numbers. We can talk about fouls, and we can talk about Jaylen Brown, and we can talk about all this. These are the numbers that matter. The number's 22 and the number's 49. They got 49 threes up. That's the difference here. They're generating high quality looks, which they've been able to do versus this Knicks team outside of game 2, which I think that New York really did an excellent job of getting them out of the rhythm. Game 4 to a certain extent. I haven't done the full film work on that one. So like that's entirely possible because I've been dealing with the lottery and Tatum and everything else. But the Celtics were 22 of 49. The Knicks were 12 of 30. The Knicks had more free throws and made 15 more free throws in this game. But the Celtics won the math game. Like the Celtics won that is a path here. And I said this at times where I was like, look, Tatum's important, but he's not as important as other people because the way that they win, like the Denver Nuggets win because of Nikola Jokic. And when they were winning without him, those were real outliers. The Celtics don't win because of Jason Tatum. He helps. He's amazing. He's their best player. He's incredible. I had him on top 5 on the MVP ballots I submitted for the straw poll. Like, would have had him top 5. Jason Tatum rules. Great defender. But Boston, every year you have a different identity, and Boston's identity is chuck them. And they did it. And if they do it again, it's going to be game 7. The other thing I will say, we'll talk more about this on tomorrow's show for Friday. On buckets, my big read here is if the Celtics win game 6, I have to bet Pacers futures because now I'm going to get either the Knicks or the Celtics shorthanded without Tatum coming off of a 7-game series. Like I don't know how this can shape up better for Indiana. I don't know what Indiana did to do. Like, Tyrese Halliburton is blessed by the gods, but this is shaping up incredibly well for Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers. That's kind of my read is if this goes 7, the play is actually probably on going heavier in on the Pacers because of that outcome, Kravitz.
I tend to agree with that. I think the Pacers are a really good matchup for either one of the combatants they're going to end up going up against. If it's the Knicks, they can depth them to death because the Pacers have it and the Knicks don't. And if the Knicks sustain one injury, one guy like Brunson or Cat in foul trouble, all of a sudden the Pacers have a major advantage. I agree with Joe. I think the Knicks are better than the Pacers, but the Pacers can withstand a blow and the Knicks cannot. And so in a 7-game series, it makes me trust Indiana a little bit more. Plus, they are red hot right now. In terms of the Boston Celtics, the Celtics want to chuck them. The Celtics want to shoot you out of the gym. The Pacers are happy to meet you there. And they're hot right now. They've got the guys that can go toe-to-toe. So I like the Pacers against both of these teams because I also think we are getting them as underdogs against either one of the teams that make it out of this series. You add in the rest advantage that they're going to have, and I just think it makes for a really good Pacers bet. I'm with you.
Oh, yeah. So I was going to say, or Matt, you're muted.
Matt is miming a take right now for us.
I was saying, Joe, if you're good, we can move on. But if you need to defend your boys, I get it. I'm trying to be supportive of you.
What I was going to kind of say was in terms of betting Indiana, because I think you might want it just from like a market perspective, right?
Yeah.
I think the question is really if it goes to a game 7, you kind of have to project who do you think is going to win game 7 because that's going to influence this Pacers line. Because I would want 0 parts of Indiana against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they would get absolutely shit pumped into another planet. So like
that we can agree on, Joe.
I don't want any of that, right? So it's like, is there really value betting Indiana before game 7, or would you rather just wait until the result and bet it after game 7? Because if you think New York wins in game 7, New York's going to be a dog in game 7. If you think New York can win on the road in game 7, you're going to probably get a better Pacers number then. It's almost like a parlay, right? Yeah. Whereas if you think that Boston wins, you're going to want to wait because you're going to get the better number on Indiana then.
It's fair. I think I would probably still want Indiana just from the perspective of regardless of who comes out, it's going to be value, and then I'll come back on it again. Like I don't want to. I think I would want to get in on that. So Joe, here the line is very important for the Knicks' chances here, and here's why. Game 6, team up 3-1 or 3-2 rather, 3-2 at home. Favorites are 38-17 straight up, 69%. Since 2003, they are only 27-28 ATS. By the way, this is the one I was talking about the other night. These are the games. This is the weird one where the home team eliminates but doesn't get the cover, which typically we see this pretty routinely. Is like they don't cover as often. 38-17 here. Dogs are 4-9 straight up, 31%. So if the Knicks wind up as a 1-point dog, I'm sorry, Joe, they're probably losing. And if they're a 1-point favorite, they're probably winning. That's just math. Like I don't know what to tell you. That's what the numbers say. So that's how to kind of read that.
That's the coin flip.
The numbers are bullshit.
I will also say this. If the home team wins in game 6 as a favorite, they are 27-11, 71% ATS. So that's as always, the Matt Mitchell rule is in effect here. If you're going to bet on the favorite, lay the points in this situation. I do have one more kind of talking point that I'll talk about a little bit more. I'll give this out tomorrow on best bets for buckets, or actually I'm not on tomorrow. So I'll give it out now. Eastern Conference, because I do think there's such a wide difference between these two conferences, right? And this has been going on for well over a decade, like decades, multiple. Eastern Conference game 6s, okay, are, gotta remove the favorite or dog filter. Eastern Conference home teams. Game 6, chance to eliminate. The under is 22, 12, and 1, 65%. So I'm going to be on the under in Game 6. We love the unders in Game 6, especially after the first round. These games just get nasty. And I actually think that probably that favors the Knicks.
Yeah.
Like the most likely outcome here is the Knicks. Is that like the other thing I'll say is when you have the spot that the Celtics were in, and I went against it anyway, just based off of like what I had the number at, but it makes a lot of sense in retrospect and hindsight. There's a big emotional boost after Tatum goes down. Win it for Tatum. You're talking to him. He's in the hospital. You see the photo of him with his leg up and all the thanks for the prayers. The signs. Do it for Tatum. And then, okay, you won. You beat him by 20. You take a breath, and then there's an emotional letdown. And then the Knicks take care of business because they don't have the best player.
It's also like, is Luke Cornett going to look like fucking like I don't even know, like Hakeem Olajuwon again? Probably not. So I think we might be in a better situation.
All right.
Okay, let's also not forget, it's not like the Celtics all of a sudden are just like, well, let's win one for Tatum and good old college try. This season alone, they were 8-2 without Jason Tatum. They are now 2-0 in the playoffs without Jason Tatum. This is kind of what they do. You want to? I mean, that's not. We're not talking about a large sample size here, but you want a trend. How about the Celtics have been better without Jason Tatum, or at least just as good?
Brandon, I'm so pot committed on Celtics futures that are hanging by a thread. I do not need you talking me into more of them. Please stop talking me into not even quadrupling, doubling down on the Boston fucking Celtics.
Just be good where you're just good where you're at.
You need to be Jaylen Brown's agent.
Yeah.
Believe me,
right.
I was in on the Knicks side of this about 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
And I have completely flipped.
Ooh, and I mean, interesting. Of course, Jamie Daniels is not doing well tonight. The one time because I looked at the splits and was like, I anecdotally was like, Jamie Daniels struggles on the road and is good at home. But actually, that's not true. He's actually not good at home. That's a weird thing in the playoffs. Anthony Edwards makes the lead 18. Looks like the Wolves are going to advance to the conference finals for the second straight year. But a lot of game left. Let's do some best bets for Thursday in the association, in the NBA playoffs. Joe Dellera, what do you like tomorrow?
I'm going to be on Michael Porter Jr. over 14.5 PR. I am going to rock with that.
Okay. Brandon Kravitz.
Yes, let's go. I need the Matt Moore vote of confidence that we're getting a Toradol shot or something.
Lidocaine, sir.
Lidocaine, give it to me. Inject it. Let's get this guy going. I am on Michael Porter Jr. over 9.5 points. So I'm kind of hoping for that boost. But my best bet on the night is Nuggets plus 4.5. Sprinkle on the money line for the Matt Mitchell rule. A lot of conversation about what the Thunder are doing to frustrate Jokic. But, I mean, he was phenomenal in Game 5. And I expect the role guys to show up too.
Yeah.
Like I said, home dogs in Game 6 when they're down facing elimination. I talked about this earlier today. The numbers are not good. So I want to stress this from a side perspective before we talk MPJ. These numbers, if you haven't listened to Buckets yet, go listen to it. I walked into that podcast proudly ready to bet Nuggets money line and walked out with my tail between my legs, whimpering and telling David Payne to delete my quick slip from the episode description because of stuff that we talked about and what I found, because the trend is actually, while we were talking, I found this trend in it. Kelby Fiddles on Thunder. Sean's on Thunder. I was going to be on Nuggets. This is the trend. And this is a bad one. You guys ready for this? Game 6, you're down 3-2. So you're trying to stave off elimination. And you're a dog at home. Since 2003, 10-31 straight up at 24%. Wait for it. 13-28, 32% against the spread.
Seems bad.
They've lost by an average of 8.7 points, failed to cover by 4.6. And even when they've covered, so the Mitchell rule does exist here. They are 10-3 straight up if they cover. So 77% of the time, if they cover the number, they do win outright. So Matt Mitchell rule is in effect here, but it is bad. Like, the numbers are bad. And I was like, well, maybe this is just like first round stuff. Like, okay, they stole one early and then the team settled down and they beat them in 6. So I checked after the first round. Yeah, they're 5-12, 29% straight up, 7-10, 41% ATS. Better, which you would expect from better teams, but still not good. So this is a bad spot for the Denver Nuggets, which is why I cannot bet the side. Like, was ready to, because I said I got game 1 wrong because I thought they were going to lose off of the rip coming off that game 7. They threw everything at that game, won it, got blown out in game 2 like I expected them to. Said Nuggets win game 3. I said Thunder win game 4. Thought it would be a blowout. Got that one wrong. I said Thunder game 5. I said Thunder game 5, Nuggets game 6, coin flip game 7. That's been the script I've been on. But the trends say I'm wrong and that the Thunder are very likely to finish the job here tomorrow. Kravitz, what do you think about all that? You're more of a side better than Joe.
Well, I would wonder how many of those teams, so we're talking about 41 instances, how many of them had Nikola Jokic, who's arguably a top 10 player ever. Yeah. I would also wonder how many of those teams played in Denver, the one real home court advantage in the entire NBA, and how many were 4-1 against the spread within the series they are currently in, entering that game 6. That's one of the things that leads me towards the Nuggets. The Thunder are the better team. They have not been covering the number in this series. This series has been played tight, and the last game, the Nuggets had a 9-point lead late in the game, and the role players didn't show up. Well, what happens when a series goes back home? Role players wake up. All you need is Gordon and MPJ and Christian Brown to get their heads out of their ass, and they'll be fine. So the trend is strong, but I just wonder how many of those had Jokic.
I mean, look, this has been a bad year for trends too. So I'm with you. I'm just not going to bet it. I want to. This feels weird not betting this game on the side, but I'm just going to be like, I'm going to wimp out and I'm going to just duck out with my tail between my legs and head on out. I do want to note here, Mike Sandy, who tells us every single broadcast, let's not forget how much I despise Buddy Hield. Every single Buckets Live, Mike Sandy's come on and let us know how much he hates Buddy Hield. So shout out to Mike Sandy. And I love, if you're going to be a hater, be a generational one. All right, let's talk MPJ. Took the shot before game 7, had a quality performance versus Los Angeles Clippers, got them past that one. Could not take it for game 1, could not take it for game 2. Did not want to take it necessarily before game 3, wanted to stretch it out a little bit more. Could not. Took it before game 3 because he was like, we got to get this game. Went all in, got a game 3. I had to say this on Buckets, so I will say it again. This is like an important disclaimer because this stuff is really important, okay? I have no contact with the Denver Nuggets training staff. No one will tell me anything, even if I asked, which I wouldn't, but they would not tell me this. I am not going to get told he is or is not taking the lidocaine. It is a guessing game, okay? I am basing this solely off of Mike's comments after game 3. That's it. I'm not going to get told any sort of inside information. I'm not going to get tipped off on it. This is not any sort of inside information. This is entirely, Mike said this after game 3. I thought it was really interesting. We played the under in game 4 and game 5. My expectation is that with a week later, he is going to take it either in game 6 or game 7 and be able to probably knock down some shots. Now, he can take that shot, and the Oklahoma City Thunder, who after game 3 had kind of been like, we can maybe help off of him a little bit. In game 4, we're like, nope, never leaving Michael Porter Jr. ever again. And they have covered him much better. So, like, he can get the injection and feel better and still not get here on points. He can still just go under. That's entirely possible. He can not get the injection and hit 3 threes because Mike's an incredible shooter, and then have a foul and get to the line, hit 2 free throws, and then he's over. That's entirely possible. But to me, this is over in game 6. If he misses again in game 7, that to me is if there's a game 7. So I'm going to be on the over 9.5 points, Michael Porter Jr. game 6. That's my lidocaine handicap for Michael Porter Jr. Joe,
Cosign.
Yeah, I mean,
my cap is cosign.
It just makes sense. Like you this is the last game of the season. If you lose, it's done. So like, when else are you going to take this? Like, you have to win game 6 to get to game 7. If Denver had won game 5, I think I would feel differently about taking this prop right now. But given the fact that they're in a win or stay home situation, I think that you have to back the spot. He's also been like super, super gutsy regardless. Like, I took his under in the game after he had said that he got the shot, and I took RA under, and he fucking went out there and got 9 rebounds still. So like, the dude is going to try. I think he's trying his damnedest, and we've seen it now too, where like the minutes kind of cascade down after like he had that great performance, played 43 minutes, then the next game 34, then it's probably a little bit more sore, and we're down to like 29. Maybe he gets back there and is able to get a couple more minutes out there. So I like the PR. I think of rebounds as almost like a minute stat. If he's out there, he's going to grab them. And if he's making the buckets, then I think that we're in a decent spot too. So I like the PR. And Matt, I wanted to bring up one thing. It's not exactly a best bet, but Jokic's PA is at 36.5. Jokic had last game, I think it was a record, because he had 5 assists on 20 potentials. Like that's like one of the worst ratios ever. And I think that I think his teammates shot like 30-something% on his shot or on his pass attempts. So like at home, I'm wondering it to a degree, is this a spot to maybe buy in on Jokic? That PA line is so low relative to his full season numbers, 36.5. He's hit that in 63% of games this season. The Oklahoma City series, game 1, and then last game. So I'm a little nervous about it, but it does feel like he's maybe figured something out going 17 of 25 from the field last game against this Thunder defense.
Yeah, I think there's probably one way or another he probably gets there. If his scoring, he seems to have figured out how to get to him in that game 5. Usually he doesn't regress after he figures out how to attack. And so I think that he'll probably come back and look like himself again here in game 6. Another reason to like the Nuggets, as Kravitz said. The assist line, yeah, like, look, they're going to leave those guys. Here's the big thing. The Nuggets got open corner threes. They got open corner threes over and over and over again. Role players don't shoot well on the road. They shoot better at home. Like Russell Westbrook, probably an over 3 spot. Don't know about Christian Brown. That one I don't know about. Christian Shaw is not looking good right now. He seems very uncertain. He was record scratching very badly. Aaron Gordon, probably points and assists is another one that I would probably maybe look at. Rebounds and assists. Rebounds and assists was the play that we were on in game 5. I think it's probably still a good play here again in game 6 with, again, playing a little bit better at home. So that's kind of the perspective. I do want to say, if you're playing Thunder, and again, I don't know, but if you're playing Thunder, the average margin of victory in these games, if the home team or if the road team wins this game, is 15 points. So go all the way with the escalator. There is, again, I get it, because I played the escalators a couple times and gotten burned in the series, because Denver always seems to kind of get this game into single digits. But that's kind of my question is, do we really think that the Thunder are getting out of the series with 1 total blowout? Like 1? I don't. Like, a very simple script to me would be the Nuggets win close in game 6 and get blown out in game 7. To me, that is a completely reasonable script for what we could see here down the stretch. Spencer says, I have OKC in 6 at plus 475. Do you think a hedge would make sense even with the trends? Yeah, I think at 475 for sure. I think you can get, let's see, what's the at DK, so I have it up.
Nuggets are like plus 172.
Yeah, there's a 164 and there's a 172 in the market. Yeah, absolutely. I would say you should at least guarantee a profit at that
Yeah,
point. That's what I would do. Is you're in a really good position for OKC in 6 here, but
yeah,
I would guarantee a profit.
it only depends if that's the only one that you bet, then yeah, like then you need to judge it that way. If you bet like a bunch of those exact outcomes, you need to look at what you have, because you might have like, you don't want to be hedging on a spot where this would be the only thing to kind of get you out of that spot. If you would bet like say like 4 exact outcomes before the series, if this is your only one, then yeah, like I'm cool with what Matt said.
Yeah. One of the things that I did going into this round of playoffs this year that I'm definitely going to do moving forward that helps with those situations, because a lot of us put in so many bets. I mean, first of all, track your bets, your bets yourself, track your bets on the Action Network app. But I'm also tracking just a simple notepad on my phone, my units gained and lost per each series. So I want to know how I'm doing on each series. That also tells me the read that I have, the numbers right there in front of me. I'm not playing a guessing game. And also with what Joe said, where you might have a couple of bets that are already placed on specific outcomes, and I'm trying to hit a certain number. I want to be up 3 units, and that's an arbitrary number, but I want to be up 3 units per series each round. And to me, that's a win in a big way. And one way to not get there is to over bet and over hedge. So just having that stuff jotted down is a really good way to help you throughout this chaotic time. Oh no, he muted himself again.
God, what do I keep doing? My keyboard is extremely loud, so I'm just trying to be polite, but then I get distracted. That's gonna do it for Buckets Live. Thanks for joining us. We were supposed to have a show tomorrow night, Thursday. No show tomorrow night because I'm gonna be at Nuggets Thunder Game 6. So unfortunately, no game tomorrow night. We will be back on Sunday night, 10:30 Eastern, with the Future Jays, wrapping up whatever series are getting there. It could potentially, I guess, theoretically, be another. The Knicks, I think the Knicks would still be alive in that, or the Knicks and Celtics series would be continuing.
If there's a game 7, I might commit. Like it's like I'm gonna be wanting to die. Like
yeah, you're gonna be in a bad place. We're not rooting for that. So unless you're Brandon Anderson, he's rooting for that, but he's a bad friend. So yeah. I'm a good friend. I want good things for Knicks fans like Joe. Hope you guys have a good night. We'll see you guys again tomorrow. Make sure to check out Buckets tomorrow and on Friday and on Saturday with Kravitz, as we will do a live show on Saturday morning. That show is like absolutely terrific. We're gonna start doing them at noon Eastern time. So check out Saturday at noon Eastern. Buckets Live with me and Kravitz. It's a great show. We got a really great crowd. I appreciate everybody joining us. We'll see you guys again next time. Till then, let's get buckets.